Alright, so I brought your reference in, made a couple big proportional changes, mostly to the eyes and ears. Um, Everything else was pretty much in a good location. Now, most of what you're having issues with is volumes and where things are located, so I'm going to push you back to this planes of the face image. Um, and I think we discussed this in class already, where, because you only have a front, side, and back view, um, it's a bit more difficult to study these volumes, and that's where the planes of the face, some sort of three-quarter, is going to really help you out. I took one pass over your model. It took me about a half an hour. Um, and again, I would just kind of repeat this process each time. Okay, so honestly, it would probably take me 2, 3, 4 passes before I was feeling good with where those primary forms are. But I'll just kind of walk through the history here so you can see what I did. It catches up. All right, so right here, right away, you can see I'm moving some big proportions into place. I'm starting to get the planes for the glabella up here, and then going into the eyebrow range. Now, one thing with females to look for is that the eyebrow angles back quite a bit, so it creates more of an open area right here. And that's why men's eyes tend to be darker, kind of in shadow, and females going to be lighter through here, so you want to look for that open eyebrow area. Cutting in for where the nasal bone is there, and then working the temporal ridge. So you can see how much this comes in before kind of the cranium bows out here, where you kind of had more of a balloon shape moving up to that temporal ridge. Use a little bit of dam standard to help me cut back there, but so far you'll see I'm using a lot of the trim dynamic brush. So just walking through here, you can see I'm working on the planes of the nose. Big thing is the cartilage plates mimic on each side. So there's two for the bridge, two for the ball, two, and then one on each side for the nostril. The ball of the nose kind of fits in like a key in between that nostril and the bridge of the nose. And then your bridge of the nose is chitin shaped, so it'll kind of flare out a little bit where it meets up with that nasal bone, and then it tapers in towards the ball. So just kind of remember that. Here you can see that your zygomaticus muscles were pretty much smoothed into where your cheekbone is. So we want to bring these muscles out more, and then we have to have that cheekbone flare out to the sides. For a female, make sure that the bone kind of makes a gentle curve in towards the lips. If you get too sharp with that, it's going to start feeling too masculine. So again, just cutting in for those muscles. And then here you can see I'm refining the lower bag of the eye socket. So here we're working on the pillars of the lips, how they split with the chin. You kind of had all of this put into one shape, which with the way your reference is lit kind of feels that way, but there's going to be more separation there. And she does have a bit more of a squared off chin, but a rounder jawline. So we'll work on that. And the lower lip is more square, and then the upper one is more triangular, kind of the way those planes work. So kind of keep working on those shapes a little bit. And you can see I went in a little with the Damien standard, cut some of those shapes, and then went back over it with the trim dynamic. I like the trim dynamic because it really shows me the true angles there. It shows me if my shapes are too soft or if the angles are too harsh. So I lost a little volume. I was looking at my left hand silhouette, what would be her right hand silhouette, and I could see that this was starting to cave in. So I just went in with some clay tubes, kind of filled that out, and you'll see me rake across that with the trim dynamic and try to blend that into the cheekbone. The lip line was located too far forward, which wasn't helping me get that triangular plane to the upper lip, so I had to drop that back a little bit, use some of the Damien standard for it. just kind of smooth, feathered some of that out. Worked on your neckline a bit too, so it was originally pretty soft, and the trapezius, you'll see I had to kind of do a lot of work. And I know she's got that diver coat on, and the helmet's going to be with it, so I'm not sure how much of this is really going to be seen, but you want to make sure you get the correct separation between the trapezius, the mastoid, and then the trachea through here. Then you can see I made a few more kind of movements as I was rotating around for the silhouette, started smoothing things out, and then that would be what I would consider one pass over a human form. I probably would have went through the ears one more time and the eyes because I didn't really pay too much attention to those. And then I would take another pass. So there's still a lot wrong with this if, as far as a professional level. So what I would do then is I'd start at the beginning. So I'd go back to my image planes and I'd hit my front view first, bring down my model opacity, and then I go through and I double check all my proportions. So I can see I made my neck too skinny, my jaw's not correct, my ears need to come out a little bit more, and the back of my cranium. I go to my left view, and that one's still lining up pretty good. Clavicle trachea has to come forward a bit, ear slightly wrong place, and the back of the cranium needs to tip up slightly. But side view feels in a better spot than what the front view did. So you can see while I was trying to fix things, I kind of broke things as well. So that would be where I would start my new pass. Then I would turn my model opacity all the way back up. I'd come back out to this model and I'd work through the planes once again. And it'd probably take me 3-4 passes at least to get this model to where I'd want to start, throwing in some secondary forms. So when I'm correcting a model or when I'm working on my own models, that's kind of the route I take. You can see here already, once I smoothed it, I've lost this plane, for the glabella. So if it helps you to kind of outline these, but those planes are completely wrong. That shape, right, isn't falling off correctly. So just kind of thinking about this goes out and then this should go in. Just kind of outlining those a little bit might help you to start putting in those forms a little bit more proper. So while we have a lot more volume to the face now, and I'm feeling those through here, it's soft, so there's a lot of areas where we're still not getting the correct forms.